My YouTube friends, hello audio music fans of all kinds. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to find out when I go live and when I post new videos. If you're interested in any kind of audio topics, including which gear to use, how it works best, how to save yourself some money, tips and tricks on room setup, room tuning, equipment, all that kind of stuff, I do consultant work. My email is in the profile. Links will be provided under some videos for each of the companies and products that I review, showcase, talk about. Otherwise, reach out to me on all the platforms, Facebook, Instagram. I'm also on there, same name. Getting all that official stuff out of the way. I'm on a little bit early today on a Sunday, actually. It is a Sunday. It's raining today, too. It's raining a lot. I've had quite a bit of rain out here. You can't really even see it, but it is raining on a Sunday. In the system, these are the CLC65s. I haven't even peeled the sticker off yet. CLC is Copenhagen Loudspeaker Company, relatively new brand as a side speaker project to Gatto Audio, Denmark brand. I've had the pleasure of having them in-house for about a month and a little bit, and I absolutely love them. They have showcased what dynamic and distortion free can do for music, and I've been exploring more and more music because I've had them in the system. They just able to unlock so much more detail at even lower volumes, so that distortion free hallmark of the Purify Audio brand is allowing even more of the music to shine through, and I've really fallen in love with that. They are a 10-inch, 6.5, and about a 1.1, 1.2 inch tweeter. It's a 33 millimeter. So that's 7-8 millimeters bigger than an inch. All Purify drivers too. It's a Purify tweeter as well as woofers. Most people recognize this shape on the woofers as Purify. And it's not just a weird shape. It's meant to control the movement of the cone in both directions with the same amount of air displacement. So the ripples control linearity, and the inverse rolls control how much is being displaced in two directions. So it's very functional, even though it looks very strange. It's about creating equal displacement in two directions rather than just outward rolled like these. This roll on the outside pushes the air in one direction, but when you go back, it rolls differently. So it's more asymmetrical, and this surround is more symmetrical. So that's the whole design behind that. Thank you to everybody who's joining. Today I've got a lot of CDs out on the floor. These are binders that I've had for many years. I've got lots of stuff in here. I was very heavily into metal to begin with, but you can see I've also got a lot of mixed genres in here. Cryptopsy, Beethoven's classic stuff, Born of Osiris, Ben Harper, really great stuff. This classic here, everybody uses that demo. I've got that on CD. Bjork, Boys to Men, Perfect Circle's old CDs. There's a buddy of mine who lives in the neighborhood. Shout out. And then some other classics. So yeah, I've got a lot of stuff on CD here. I have been slowly collecting a lot of my favorites. A lot of my childhood favorites are in here, as well as new classics. The original Daft Punk. The reason why I'd wanted to get everything on CD is because I'm not really, I guess you could call me a cynic in a way, but I've had enough evidence to support the idea that companies that own subscription services and streaming and digital media have this idea that they want to control the access so you can continually pay them or rent lease and continue the income on their end. If you if you buy CDs, hold on, let me flip this around. I'm going to make this a talking point. Oh, my stand is not in the right spot. Welcome to my friends. The whole idea behind owning a CD, and even back in the day, the whole idea of, well, I can't get anything right in here. The whole idea. So, like, if you made a product that was a car or an engine or a part, or see, that light's really annoying. If you made anything that was too reliable and it didn't break down, or it didn't, there wasn't like planned obsolescence, then what would happen is the companies or whatever, they have this agenda to like keep growing over time. And if you're not buying new stuff on a regular schedule, then they don't have the income, or they can't look forward to like this, oh, this next thing. Game Trasher 811 says, cool hair bro. You're missing a comma before bro. That's proper English. And yeah, I agree. This takes a little while to come in. I try to manage it. I don't color this hair at all. Like, if I'm getting older, I'm getting older, but I appreciate you noticing. That's really observant of you. So if you make products that are going to be obsolete in a short while, then the companies, they will reap the benefit of that update. You buy new products, you keep them going. Apple has a new product every once in a while at TVs, cars, models. They have to keep producing in order to keep buying. Now, they're producing at a low cost, and people and consumers are buying at a high cost, and that's where that money transfer comes from. They're making low for prices, and they're selling at higher prices in order to keep that money rolling in on their side. In CD and music, when you had bands and licensing for music and stuff like that being made at a certain cost on the artist and label side, they were able to produce CDs and vinyl, and you buy that way. But when technology changed and digitization came out, then they weren't able to control the supply, essentially, is what happens. When you can copy and share your music to other people via digital and MP3, then they lost control of that conveyor belt. So no matter which albums or brands or bands or artists or whatever they were able to produce as an investment, they weren't able to make all the money back again. So they went in really hard on digital copies. And that's when Apple Music and other streaming platforms decided to pull a lot of the music, not really away from physical media, but they made it more awkward or more easy to have just music in your pocket. You grab your phone, you just stream and play music from your phone. It became good enough. They made headphones with a certain number of companies. They made it easier to stream digital. But at the same time, what they also did was they made you pay a price on a regular basis to stay in the loop. And there's so much music available that if you got cut off, you would lose the entire library of music and you don't have any backup. So with physical media, with an actual disc in your hand, and I have CD players that don't need the internet, you basically just put the CD in, even though, like, in some cases I have burnt discs of some of the music, which I don't really listen to, and I haven't. And now that I've seen a lot of this stuff in my library, some of the qualities of this, it's got like a crack on the CD there or whatever. I went and rebought some of these editions because I just want to have it in my library. And instead of me renting to own it, like, somebody else owns the material and I'm just paying to access it. If it got cut off or there's no internet, or if I wanted to listen to it somewhere, I wouldn't be able to. So I buy the physical media in order for me to listen to it offline without any internet access. Nobody's saying, oh, you can't listen to that. I can just pick it up put it on my player, which doesn't access the internet, and play it anytime I want. That's really what I've been after lately, like trying to buy all of the copies of CDs that I really want, and brands, like, not brands, but bands that I have always supported, and bands that I appreciate. I am able to do that, buy the materials, support the bands, that kind of stuff. So it's been a lot of fun in terms of finding out like where I can find this music, where like who has the music available. Amazon has been a good resource for buying some of the CDs that I've wanted. Also, it allows me to, like on CD, there's a certain quality to the CDs that I find is better than streaming, and I'm still not sure if it's part of the players, part of the streaming codec. I'm not sure if it, like where the quality or uh, even output volume is different. CD volume seems to be better. I have no idea what those changes are. It could be based on player, could be based on DAC interface, it could be any number of things. I think mastering for CD was pretty standardized so that when I'm playing on CD, they all sound relatively good quality. But in streaming platforms, I'm not really sure how that mastering process is done. Also, it's done at a lower quality. The bit rate per second is lower for streaming. So there's a lot of different factors that go into why I want everything on CD. So let me see, where do I have? I think my CDs that I just copied recently are buried. Yeah, some of them are buried in here somewhere. Now that I'm older, I want planned obsolescence. Good for my retirement fund. Well, in what way? I mean, I'm not really planned obsolescence is essentially, yeah, it's a money conveyor belt is what it is. And if you're extracting money from the continual input, like a lot of people are, if you're business oriented, all you want to do is just extract money from the system. It's not essentially about providing value for people, because if you're talking about providing value for people, then you would give them something that just lasts forever. So something that lasts forever doesn't generate a lot of money. It's like a one-time thing, and then that's it. You either invent something new to accommodate it or move on to a completely new project. There's none of this kind of like conveyor, constant input, like all that stuff. So like in that way, I reject that, because it's not, it's disingenuous, because then it's all it is using people as consumers. It's not really considerate. It's inconsiderate of people's longevity, and all it does is shift value or shift wealth from one place to another. Which, I mean, if you're on the upside to that and you're evil, or if you're, very self-centered, then yeah, I mean, that's the game. But that's not what I see. I mean, there's always going to be like a game of cat and mouse there. If you're on the top end of a company and all you want to do is provide, like something for people to just spend their money on, then yeah, you're creating a rat race. But of course, all the rats have a choice. They don't have to buy in. That's why I have all my CDs here. I don't have to, like, I'm at the point now where I have enough music here. I can cancel my subscriptions. I can cancel my music services. I can find new music another way. I don't need to actually pay any of the streaming services to find the music anymore. And if I really want it, I'll just buy the CD and keep it offline. So there's always another way around it. It's always a choice as a consumer to spend into the system. And that's really a big problem, is they're creating so many different traps and bait and things that entice and tempt and manipulate people into spending money. And medication is one of those things. Medication is the same thing like streaming services. They know that you want the music. They understand that music is a part of everybody's life as an art form, as a relief, as a therapy, as a whatever, and they're going to charge you for those things. So like when certain industries make foods that are not good for you and they advertise it to be addictive and tempting and easy to get, and it's still your choice to do it, and then it makes you sick, and then of course there's a company on the other end that's like, well, if people are continually going to make themselves sick, or like cancer for instance, they won't put out a absolute cure for cancer, because the treatment of the people's and the management of cancer is more profitable than the cure. And this goes right into the same conveyor belt of extracting wealth from people that I mentioned about music. Renting music to listen to it is the same thing as just paying to manage the cancer rather than solving the problem. When you buy the CD, that's like the cure. Then like, I don't need to subscribe to listen to this stuff anymore. I can cut it off. If I want something new, I pay and support the band. So like, that's slowly where I'm moving. I don't want to continually be on the rat race on a conveyor belt, just constantly paying out for the same kind of level access and nothing really changing. It's just repackaging, repurposing, a renewal of a subscription, and nothing really gets better. And the money just keeps going out and keeps going out and keeps going out. It's a very sick sort of one-way system, which I don't agree with. Or find any kind of alternative to get out of that. So that's where I'm at right now, at least with music and the way that I see things, which is why I've been buying a lot of CDs. And enjoying it. I mean, there's not really... I've always enjoyed having a better copy of stuff. I have some CDs here that are not available on streaming. That's just the way it is. Like a lot of music that had been produced just never made it to that end. They didn't make it to the high production side, So I still have some of those CDs. Like this one, for instance, never made it to streaming. It's available on YouTube. And I use this for my copyright-free playlist sometimes. So if you look this CD up, you will find out who it's produced by, the artists that are involved. And I don't remember where I got it. I got it a long time ago. But it's not available on streaming. It's on YouTube now, but that's about it. I like having the actual CD in my possession. That was fun. Jazz Fest, I got to meet her. That was when the song came out for the Winter Olympics, or whatever it was. Now I have no idea where she's at now. I've heard next to nothing from this artist after that, so can't do that with a digital file. So like, there's an added value to this stuff. And more to the point, I actually reached out to Jeff Loomis yesterday and shared a little bit about what I've got going on here. The booklet for all the lyrics, all the artwork. And I had this actually signed by the band, which is like so cool. Yeah, this is a big influence from me back in the day. used to play all the songs on drums, and I would rehearse and like do cover songs with this band. Really, really amazing to actually have this. And like I said, you can't get your digital files signed, and it's not as exciting to be like, hey, I'm a big fan of your band, but then you don't have this kind of thing to like share with the band when you meet them. So I think that's super, super cool. Going on early in the day. So the audience is a bit different. I hope to really catch different people from different areas of the world right now. I mean, going on at 6 p.m. every day is kind of like, sure, it meets the requirements for consistency. So like if your shows or sports shows or whatever, games come on at like 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. at certain days every day, that it comes on, you sit down and enjoy it like a TV. I mean, that's not the way streaming works now. Streaming is about much more about access at any time, viewing on demand, and another reason why I encourage people to subscribe, because I'm not always on at a regular time. I will just go online when I have some time to talk about stuff and I feel like sharing something, or if something happened, I can share it. And this weekend's been pretty drab. I did manage to get a couple of things done. Let me move this camera around. It's still rain out here. It's nice for the grass. I've got my fan on too, just blowing air in here. The cool thing about these, they do have these 10-inch passive radiators on the back. Bi-wireable, bi-ampable. So these are just passive. The subs are off still. I'm not using the subs. There's no reason to use the subs. I haven't used this yet for my live streams. I will be using it at some point. I have the 2 XLR mics here. So what I can do is have stereo mic sound in the stream from the back of the room, and on the mixer I can dial it in that way, and then when I'm not using them I can turn them down and then use a mic for my speaking voice, which it just puts a different level of streaming capability in there. They're very good, high quality Rhodes mics, very cool suspension system there. What else did I do this weekend? I still have a lot of stuff to clean up. I'm doing some spring cleaning, so to speak. You guys recognize those from back in the day. They came out of a pair of speakers that sadly didn't work. The drivers work, but there's a lot of stuff that doesn't work right. I did add a couple of cool things in here. I've got these cup holders now right on the side of the desk. So I used to put my drinks like on the top of the surface, but I've got a lot of stuff moving around in here. So I wanted these cup holders on the side so I can actually put it like out of reach. And then I grabbed a couple of these just for decoration. So I'm not really a fan of gold or brass. That's not really my thing, but I like the rest of the build. I think the Damascus pattern's pretty cool. So just some decorative things to do in the system. I also got a board for here to raise this up and stabilize that front end. So that's also going to happen. I just need to move some of that stuff out of the way. Boxes are obviously part of the whole thing. I can't get rid of the boxes because unless I know for sure I'm keeping something, then I'll hold on to the boxes, because if I have to sell them or move them or whatever, then I need the boxes. It's part of the journey, is holding on to the boxes. If I have to resell, it increases or holds the value. And if I don't have the boxes, it's a little bit awkward. It also limits, like, if I can ship them or anything like that. Question is, have you listened to the Confessions 2? I don't know what that is. What is the Confessions 2? I don't even know what that is. No clue, my man. We'll have to Google it if anything. What is it, new? I have no idea. No. I don't listen to Madonna at all. Madonna Confessions 2. It's her new album? Wow. Nope. So I don't know anything about it. I've never heard. I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know it was releasing. Had no idea. I'll have to look it up later on. I'll have to find out why the suggestion. What is it about the song that you are recommending? Is it just good? You like it? Was there anything special about it? I've never been a fan of Madonna, though. Like, her music's very, I don't know. I remember an incident, like, when I was really, really young. I fucking hated female singers. It's not necessarily, I don't know what it was based on. It's just, I guess when I was younger, I had some conflicts of some kind, and female singers or voices or whatever it was, I had some reactions to it. So I remember song after song after song in the early 80s or whatever. It was like a lot of singers, a lot of female singers. So I was irritated because it was just so much of the same thing, maybe. I have no idea. It's very, very fascinating sort of thing. Hard-hitting dance music. Oh, okay, so I definitely won't like it. That's okay. I'll check it out. I'll give it a shot and see what it sounds like. But I'm probably not going to enjoy it. What else is going on today? Yeah, these albums that I got from Nevermore are great. Sadly, that's the like this is the last one that I have actually on CD, and this one came out in like 2000, I believe. Yeah, it says 2000 down there. So that's, I mean, it's 26 years at least. They have other CDs. I just never bought the other CDs. Around that time, I might have been in that era of like, oh, I can just download stuff from the internet for free. You know what I mean? Like in that timeline, I would still go to see them. Like I got the album signed and I followed along with all their media. But around 2000, 2004, like in that era, that was when you could really get your hands on media pretty easy, and internet started coming around, and social media and MySpace, and that's when things started shifting quite a bit, was in 2000, 2005. I never really gave up on the band, always followed their music. Like I said, I reached out to them in a post on Instagram yesterday and basically got a reply ish from the guitarist, so that was really, really great to see. And looking forward to what they're coming out with next, because the band is reformed. They found new members to join the band, a new singer who's got charisma and it's got the licks that they need to copy what Worrell did, which no one can really do. I mean, he was very unique. There are certain singers like Bob Dylan. Nobody can do, you can imitate him, but he's like very unique. And there are certain artists and singers like that that you can't replace. So it's nice to see a band find their character and still push towards like new music, playing music around the world again. It's very, very nice. I had some CDs here that I don't know what happened to them. They shouldn't be that far off. But I had like all of like I bought a lot of the like the first, I think the first 3 Nine Inch Nails albums all over again. I had them in photos the other day, but I don't know where those CD cases are now. Everything got shuffled around in here when I was saving everything to digital. So there is another band. I want to give them a shout out. God, I don't know where this stuff is anymore. Like, my CD case should be lit up so I can see where the CDs are. It's dark on this side. Might give me a project. But yeah, like old bands, I've seen them like reissuing music and coming out with new stuff, and I really love that. Like, I love that bands are still putting out music and still giving us, you know, like that classic. There's been a revival of some bands over the last while. Deftones like hit the scene again. Limp Bizkit hit the scene again. Korn never really went anywhere, but that era of metal is kind of peeking its head out again. You know, it's just nice to see this cycle of music where pop hip hop is starting to slow down and other forms of music are starting to make their cycle through. So it's nice to see these changes. I mean, even the mention of Madonna, like, where the fuck has she been for the last 20 years? Other than, like, some, I don't know, I don't even know what to say. I don't know where she's been. Oh, the last thing I remember her talking about is some spiritual yoga shit. And then all of a sudden, you know, just gone, just disappeared. Where is my Nine Inch Nails CD? I have no idea. Like, this classic from my childhood, I rebought this one because that's a classic that should never go away. The same thing with this one. The originators, the pioneers of modern electronic music in some kind of way. They had a lot to do with the way that music is, you know, sounds and produced now. So, needed that. I actually just thought of another band right now that I actually don't have a lot of their CDs because most of it has been digital. But now that I'm thinking about it, I might want to find the hard copies. And that is Noisia. Noisia is a drum and bass group that I have absolutely loved forever. I've always enjoyed their music, but I just realized I have nothing in a hard copy, and that's a band that I don't want to lose. So I need to 100% go get that. I mean, I went to a thrift store quite a while ago, and I found a CD as a joke that a lot of people might find funny or maybe not, but how ironic the title of this album, given what we know and we've seen. Comedy CDs from back in the day. When was this produced? 92? Yeah, 92. Hilarious. Yeah. I don't know. Not a lot going on. Just wanted to get on here and give everybody a little bit of an update, talk about a couple of things that have been happening. The updates in terms of comparing, that's the next thing I got to do is I have to make some time so I can swap these out and put the other speakers in place, do some measurements and videos of that. I'll probably do that next weekend. This weekend I had a couple things going on, so I took care of those. So next weekend maybe I'll swap these things around. Still got to be careful with everything. Moving anything in general gets really hectic because you don't want to damage anything. And every time you put your hands on it, you kind of, I feel a little nervous about it. I have to move everything around very carefully. And with the heat recently in the city, it's been pretty nasty to be doing anything inside. Even the review that I put out this week, at the end of the video, I was just so hot sitting on the floor and just trying to get through it. So it's been pretty gross. But now that the temperatures are changing, I feel like maybe there's an opportunity to do some more stuff. And it would be nice to actually get out of the house and do some things. Obviously not today with all this rain going on. So there's not much I can do there. But maybe next weekend we get some comparisons, that kind of thing going on. Mirage Bryston's here. Hello. Just been listening to one of my favorite metal bands from the 90s on CD for the day. Revisiting this album right now. This is like an extended version of the album. Yeah, very cool stuff. Yeah, I'm going to have to look for Noisia's albums or CDs. I don't know where to pick up any of that stuff. I know there's a lot of CD resources, like Disc Dogs is a good place, website that you can look up any kinds of bands that you've ever wanted to listen to. There's a lot of people around the world that have a lot of physical media, like it was produced widely. So it's not like it's rare, but in some cases it might be rare because they just don't survive. Physical media has that limitation, right? So if we can get your hands on something and treat it very well, like a lot of people criticize me for doing this, like putting them in the sleeves, because every time you move them around, people talk about them scratching against the surface, where I don't notice a lot of that damage. A lot of they're not all made the same, and some of the microfibers are better than others. So these have actually lasted me like a long time. I've had some of these CDs in here for like ever, and they're still in good condition. So as long as you're treating materials well, they're going to survive. I got to keep my eyes on some of the stuff. Oh, this was a classic album by Bjork. I remember listening to this one a lot back in the day. Another artist of CDs that I would not want to miss. So, yeah, as long as you're taking care of the albums, you're being careful about them being clean and in good positions, they'll survive for a while. So it's nice to, like, if you really want them, then you can look for them online. There are websites that sell physical media, and rather than being cut off from it, like I've said recently, is, if I love something like that much, then I'm not going to allow anybody or anything to really get in the way of my being able to listen to it. So I decided to just double down on the CDs and physical media and just keep everything close. It just feels better like that, knowing that I have access and I can enjoy it anytime I feel like it. Even without the internet, or reduce the internet, or whatever it is, as long as I have power, then I can listen to it whenever I feel like it. And again, what I'm going to say too is the streamers are connected to the internet, so they have to talk to a server in order for the software to function, and they can update certain things over the software as needed. So they can actually turn the device, they can actually brick the device from the internet. If an update goes out and it stops working, that's your music cut off completely. If this doesn't work, none of your music is available. But you can't do that with the CD player because all the software and stuff like that is built in. The only thing that will stop this from working is an actual failure, and then I can get it repaired at a shop. So I don't need the internet to play my music. It's just as long as I have power, then it functions. No internet access here. That's what I really like about that. Vinyl is even one step further. Vinyl is, you know, like as long as you have power, you can play vinyl. Vinyl doesn't, it's based on an analog or physical, you know, like a tangible, you know, tangible media. So you basically just listen to vinyl at any point. Like when vinyl was new, there was very little electricity to actually power anything. You could actually do it from like just spinning it with your hand. I've seen videos out there where the tip of a leaf on the surface of a record spinning, you can actually listen to the music that way. So that's, I mean, that's pretty wild. So I have downloaded music for when camping. Not the best quality, but my camping system is basic as well. Yeah, and that makes sense because if you're in a place where your system is compromised, then you don't need DSD highest hi-fi quality music when you're just camping. You just want to hear something, and that's the big difference, just enjoying it for music's sake rather than all this tweaky stuff. What am I looking for next? What is in my system that I can look for? I can't play Opeth because Opeth gets blocked. Someone was asking me about Pantera the other day. Of course I have Pantera in here. Protest the Hero. This is a band from back in the day not a lot of people talk about anymore. Stabbing Westward, that's another band. I don't even remember which Slipknot album this is. Could be the first one. There's no booklet there. A lot of Slayer. That's the Slayer discography, essentially. Up to this one. After this album, I stopped buying Slayer. Sepultura, there's another old school album. Really good stuff. Seven Dust is another band that kind of fell by the wayside, but they were massively influential back in the day. Really love this stuff. So there's a Slipknot CD over here. I don't know why it's in different albums. Oh, this is S, but it's in two different places. So, let's see, I think I'm going to get into this Sepultura album. Quite rough, actually. Just a little bit of damage there on the corner. We'll see how it fares. We'll see how the CD player does with a little bit of damage. Let's see if I can clean it up a little bit. Hello, everyone. I use my 4K player as a CD player. Top player from Panasonic, the 9000. Because I have a 9000 in the other room, too. This one is a CD11 tribute from Rotel. That was a tribute player designed by one of the old school Rotel designers. I don't use the DAC inside, but it's been retooled for their preference. I'm actually using now the DAC through the Eversolo during my listening experience here. I find that in my testing a little while ago, the Eversolo AKMs had like a nice sound staging, but I find that the ESS Saber DACs in here, the dual ESS DACs, same thing with dual here. So it's dual AKM, dual ESS. And I think that this is a little punchier, but this has got better sound staging. So I'm just doing some comparisons right now. It's inconclusive at this point. But that's really good. The 4K video player, Panasonic player. I think it's the 9000. I don't remember the model number or whatever, but it has like really good specs. It's got a good DAC inside. It's got good audio output. It's got XLR balanced output straight from the player. So if you're not using HDMI for video and audio outputs, the XLR output as a DAC from the player is really nice too. Good options. So my last CD player was a Carousel. It was nice. I would like hi-fi quality Carousel so I could play So here's the thing about carousels and older CD players. This is what I've been looking for. So I'm going on. So for this one, for instance, say this is Marketplace. This is a 60 plus 199 player. And it's really cool because you can get 60 discs. It's got a pretty nice readout, easy access on the photos, all this kind of stuff. But I'll show you where the problem is. I don't mind the quality. That's all fine. This is my big problem. This has got line output, which means you're relying on the DAC inside this thing from 99. That's a big problem. But if you find some of these that have like optical output or coax output, then you're only using it as a transport, which means you can use an external DAC at any time, which is really nice. Same thing with this one. You know, Sony player made in Japan, 91. It's only got RCA output. So essentially you're relying on the DAC inside from that time, and I don't side with that. I've been looking for a CD player that I can use like that. I mean, I already have a CD player, but why not have, you know, a nice top-loaded Carousel or whatever. But it has to have the digital output. So there's lots of them available. There's a Denon unit, 5-disc, but there's the cool thing is this has got a digital output, controls in and out, but that's got digital coax out. So that means that this one I can use in my system and just use the coax out and just use it as a transport. So that would work, but there's not many. You have to specifically look for those details. We're headed up to almost an hour here online. I don't have too many other updates. The Nakamichi one right now, not sure if you can use your own DAC with it. I think they make a 5-disc. Yeah, that's, you know, and I've seen Pioneer, Denon, Yamaha, Nakamichi, NAD. There's lots of different models out there that made players, but it's just specifically looking for the coax out so I can use my own DACs. That's my big thing. Getting tired over here. So I'm gonna wrap up the stream. We've been on for almost an hour. Big thank you again to CLC for sending me the speakers to check out and showcase for everybody. They're absolutely beautiful, and I'm trying to buy them. Again, CD collection instead of constantly paying and subscribing to listen to your music. If you get to a point where you have everything you enjoy and you're listening to music on a limited or regular basis and you don't mind hearing some of the classics, then I strongly recommend, you know, like I might eventually just stop the streaming because yeah, it's a way to access new music, but we have multiple ways to do that, and I don't need multiple subscriptions for stuff. So it's, you know, the industry's doing that. Everything's going up in price, so you have to make some sacrifices somewhere, and this is my option. If I have what I love and I'm using what I like, then that's it. and just call it quits. And then I don't even need a streamer anymore. I basically just use the CD player, and then that's it. I get rid of the streamer. You know, I don't need to be tempted and lured and baited into new stuff, you know. If I have what I like, then that's it. I'm no longer a consumer. It's leaving the rat race. Okay. There's my rainy walkway out there. Anyways, for me in the system, that's it. Gonna listen to some other music. It is Sunday, so I got work tomorrow, so I got to take care of some stuff before that happens. A few domestic things like laundry, dishes, grocery shopping, food prep, regular adulting for work stuff. Next weekend, I'm going to try to do the comparison. I really do think that the KEF R11s are a great value, and I won't know exactly how much of a value or how much I appreciate them until I put them back in the system, now that I've heard these. So we'll see how much of a difference there is before I either have to send these back, or I don't know what'll happen. You have to stick around and find out. Thank you for joining and watching today. I do appreciate everybody who stops by, leaves comments. Subscribe as an option, usually on at random times, so you have to check back or set notifications. And yeah, join me next weekend for some other music related and audio stuff. I'll try to bring some entertaining things. Maybe during the week if I feel like it. If something comes up, we'll do like a desktop feature. My SVS system is rolled out pretty well. I need to do the measurements in the SVS system. All of the Odyssey measurements and REW measurements for before and after should be coming out pretty soon. So yeah, is what it is. All right. Take care of yourselves. Everybody enjoy the rest of the week. Be safe. Check on your loved ones. Call your friends. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. We'll leave a couple of minutes of music in here just from Sepultura.